All right, welcome in. It's Bettor's Last Stand coming to you from the Pine Room Studios in beautiful, spacious downtown Wheeling. Another week in the books. We're going to dive into the football card as usual. We're taping on a Tuesday this week because we're going to be at the penitentiary tomorrow for our regular podcast. So it kind of shuffled around a little bit. So some of the things that we normally would have on the program we may not be able to have today. Pricing and odds not always available. We won't have Sam with us today, but he will be sending his picks in to me, and we'll put them up via social media for the weekend. So that, again, is at the Pine Room Studios or at BLS_PRP for Bettor's Last Stand. Chris joins me here.
Hello, Matt.
How are we doing today, Chris?
Good.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like we were just talking right before I forgot the change in our schedule it's
weird.
Kind of threw me for a loop there.
How you get in the habit of doing stuff and your routine throughout the week.
Yeah.
And especially throughout, I feel like I'm more routine driven during football than any other time of the year because of the weekly, it's just a week and then you get a day off and then here we go. We got stupid games tonight, like junky games. You really don't get a breather, and it's just once you stop 1 week and end it, trying to recover, and then here you go again, right back into another one as we get ready to talk about college football week 8 and pro football week 7. So it was not so great of a weekend for us as far as our picks go. We had a rough one. Even Sam struggled in NASCAR. He and I both weren't very good in NASCAR. Coach 4-8 in college football, 1-2 in the pros. You were 4-8-1 in college football, 2-4 in the pros. I was 6-4 in college, 5-1 in the NFL. My football picks for once were pretty good, but my racing wasn't very good. I had one MLB loser, and I had split in hockey. We were down 13 units. We were down this week, which is not very, very good. But if you just bet the football games, maybe you did all right.
What was your one loss in the NFL? Do you remember?
Yeah, Seattle. And they had a million chances. They had a million chances. It's just so frustrating because they moved the ball between the 20s automatically. And I did listen, and it doesn't make me feel any better, but I hear people giving analysis of the games and saying, like, Cincinnati, again, had no business winning that game. And then, because I've been down on them, and again, I knew they would come back to earth a little bit or come back to life a little. But I'm not sure that they're that good because they same situation the week before against Arizona. Some guys, who, if you consider them experts, people that scout these games, say that they were very fortunate to have won the last 2 games, and they still have a broken offense. So we'll see. But Seattle just couldn't. And Pete Carroll, if he kicks field goals, if he takes the points, like Champ says, he kicks 2 field goals in the fourth quarter, he wins the game. But he didn't do it. And I don't understand on the road with Geno Smith why you're going for an all 4.
Well, and like you said, with the Bengals, are still looking just a little
average.
bit better. But again, that's probably the ineptitude of their opponents.
Yes,
because they held Cincy to 20.
Yeah.
And you said multiple times they had chances to score.
They were in the red zone, I think, 4 times in the second half and got no points on it. Or maybe 3. They might have got 3. But if it wasn't any more than 3. And if they just would have kicked on their last 2 times down there, they would have won the game. But you never know how to
I don't understand. And do you think, because we see this so much more now with coaches going forward on 4th down when basically a field goal is a short thing. Is that all analytics? Is that what they...
Also known as stupid.
Yep.
Stupidity.
I don't
doesn't work. Like it. They didn't need analytics all these years. It's not making these teams better. That's the thing that bothers me about it, is there's not making you any better. And like I say all the time, you cannot evaluate all this stuff based on data strictly because the players all change. Every year there's different guys out there. So every time somebody goes for it on 4th and 1 and you say, well, you're better off to do this because it gives you this much better of a chance to win. Well, you got to remember the guys that were in there. Tom Brady was in there. Aaron Rodgers in his prime are factored in there. Not these bums that are out here running around now. So I just don't. I get it from a guide standpoint. I understand in some of the situations where one thing where I think analytics is very useful, and ironically, teams don't do it. I think punting sometimes in the other team's territory, and then you kick it in the fucking end zone and get a touchback. I think that's the dumbest thing. Like you net like 20 yards.
Yes.
Like so in those instances, I'm fine if the analytics tell you, let's go for this if it's 4th and 3 or 2 or something. Like I don't care who your offense is, you should be able to get 2 or 3 yards if you need to. I think punting in those situations is really stupid. And I know Coach is a very big proponent of punting and pinning the team in. Well, that only works if your punter can actually do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's no think about the lack of emphasis on punting. Years ago, we had some really good punters in the league that could pinpoint those things down in there, and then that was valuable. But I don't know. So analytics from there.
Yeah, it seems like more guys now, they just try to go down the middle with it and just get it. You know, I remember that. I mean, you guys still go for the corner, but it doesn't seem to be as
old
prominent
corner. Don't even try
as it used to be. But that's just to me, that's another one of the many parts of football that are just making the game worse and less watchable. Not just punts, but like kickoffs. Why the fuck they even line up?
I don't know.
The team that's going to kick it out of the end zone, just tell them what you're going to do. Don't even kick off. Just give you get 22 guys lined up.
Safety, player safety.
Yeah, 11 guys. Well, 10. I don't count the kicker. Take off, run like hell, and the ball just hits out of the end zone. Okay, great.
Or they could adopt the XFL, and you don't get to start running until the guy catches the ball. Yep. I think that would make the game more exciting.
Yep.
The product sucks. We had a meeting down here during the NFL. We didn't watch much of it, and it was great. I was so happy.
And too, man,
my blood pressure was a lot lower.
I went home, and I did not turn that Browns game on at all. I think I might have been following it on my phone or whatever, and it was great. I got home at 4 o'clock. Most of the tail end of the 1 o'clocks we're finishing up, and it was great. You're right. I didn't miss it.
It was a nice. No, I didn't miss it at all.
Didn't watch. And boy, that Sunday game looked like a real barn burner, 14-9.
Absolute garbage.
Yeah.
Both those teams deserve to lose. Last night's game, both teams deserve to lose. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Right. You got some interesting facts when we get into segment 2. But first, let's talk a little bit about the MLB playoffs. Obviously, the championship series has started up. Rangers and Phillies both off to a good start. Rangers haven't lost in the postseason yet. Phillies win again, smashing some more homers. I'm not sure they'll lose a game in this Diamondback series at home. I just think the Diamondbacks are going to struggle to beat them there. I think Houston probably can maybe get a game off of them in Philadelphia. They did last year. And then, I don't know, Texas, we'll see. Texas rolling the dice here. They're up 2-0. Normally you say that's a great position to be in, but I wouldn't count Houston out. Their record on the road is very good this year. They've been here before. They got a good manager. So does Texas. The interesting decision to me is to start Max Scherzer, and he hasn't pitched in a month. I think you're playing with fire there. If Houston gets it going, I think that gives them a little momentum. What do you think about that decision?
I don't know. I mean, it's iffy, and it's when's the last time he actually pitched?
Like 30 days, more than that, like over a month.
That's pretty risky.
So maybe I'll have a short
and
leash.
And he's what, 39, 40 years old. I mean, how many innings is?
And he wasn't pitching that well.
No, he wasn't.
And I get it. He's a battler. He's going to battle. I give you that. And Bochy's probably going to be smart enough.
Well, if he can get 4 quality innings out of him, or even 3, just to keep him in it,
right?
I hope he does well because I want them to win.
Yeah, Houston, I think, swept in Texas earlier this year, so keep that in mind as well. By the time you hear this, series might almost be over, but we'll see. Hopefully not. I hope these go at least 6 games. I was saying that to Jared on the radio. And I feel like the baseball postseason went like so fast. I was looking forward to it, and then it just like fizzled out to where like all these good teams are out. None of the teams that are in there have won 100 games. I'm not really that big of a worrier about that part of it, but I wish the series would have gone a little longer so I could have some more action.
I still, I brought this up. Maybe it was on one of these shows that there hasn't been a whole lot of intrigue and drama in these playoffs.
There's been one dramatic game is the Braves and comeback win against the Phillies. Every other game, the team has jumped out to an early lead and then just held on.
Yeah, that was the one when
last night both games were like that.
When Harper got doubled off, right? That's the game. And other
it's the only one that came down. Now Astros had some chances. Last night's game wasn't bad. No, they got out to a big lead, and the Astros had. I mean, I think it was the 5th inning, Evaldi got out of that bases loaded jam.
Yep.
I mean that to me that was they were in trouble then. And they threatened a little bit more. They kept chiseling away at the 5-0 lead, but. They just dug themselves. I would not count Houston out, though. I didn't think they played poor enough. Valdez was terrible. I don't think he'll start again in the series. If he does, it'll be a very short stint. But the Rangers improved to 7-0 in the postseason. They're now minus 500 to win that series. I wouldn't mind taking a peek at Houston a little bit, plus 375. I think they can get back into it. I'm not saying they will win it, but they could. And then Philadelphia -$4, Arizona +230, and the NLCS, Texas, the favorites now to win it, +125 to win the World Series, followed by the Phillies at +140, Houston at +750, and Arizona at 8-1. So if you have to go, Chris, are you still thinking the Phillies win it?
I'm feeling really good about them. I am. But I also like Texas. I'm just looking at these Final Four. I mean, out of these four, Texas is the only one that has not won the World Series.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Because Arizona won it in the early, I think, 2000s.
And if you remember, and I remember this, and I wasn't even watching the game, but I remember exactly where I was at when the damn Cardinals came back and beat Texas. Texas had it.
Yes.
If you remember that, I think it was Game 6. Yeah. They were going to close out the series. I think it was a home game, and then it ended up going back to St. Louis, and the Cardinals won. But Texas has like 2 outs in the 8th inning. They're up like 3 runs, and all hell breaks loose. And I want to say that fucking dick that ended up playing for the Pirates, David Freese. He got a huge hit in that game. And I was at a Denny's at 11:30 at night after a Miami football game down in South Florida with Jason Asbell. We just got done the game. We'd been drinking. We were at this night game in Miami. We were hungry. We stopped at a Denny's by a hotel, and I remember I was listening to it on my phone. And and I had Texas to win the World Series in a bet, and various other things, and I hate the Cardinals anyway. So miserable night that was. So I'll be fine with the Rangers. I'll be fine with any of the teams other than the Phillies winning. I hate them, and I'll always hate that city, but I respect them. They're good. They're playing well. So we shall see. I'm hoping for at least another week or two of maybe a week and a half. Of base. I guess I'll get 2 weeks to get the World Series, but it's
been exciting. I like listening to those crowds are going crazy.
Yeah, I just wanted to keep
noise.
going. So it's just so much better than having to turn a football game on. All right, let's not waste any time. We're going to talk about. I'm going to touch briefly on. Didn't have a whole lot of time with the Tuesday turnaround. We were planning on maybe trying to do some NBA stuff this week, but I'm just not going to be able to do it. So we'll keep an eye out. I'll talk about that in the next segment, but we'll have that stuff on social media. A few of the season-long bets that we have, and if Chris likes anything, he can send it to me and put it up as well. I will. So, all right, let's go into the college card. And boy, I was looking through this crappy thing again, and it's just, man, oh man.
Man, you know what's funny about that? When I go through this, I got this sheet yesterday, and I swear to God, almost, and it's a weekly occurrence. When you look and you see these Big Ten matchups, first thing we always talk about is, well, that's a nap game.
Sleep induced, yeah.
It's brutal.
It's total trash. I mean, this card's just. I mean, it was nice last week to actually be. And again, nothing against the Pine Room. That's where all this stuff originated, spawned from. But it was nice. We were at our radio boss Kayleen's house, and thanks to her and her husband Brett for having us up.
Thank you so much.
It was awesome. Wonderful. And we talked about it on the radio about how much fun it was, and I thoroughly enjoyed being able to have a conversation with people. It wasn't, we obviously had games on. We had fun. We drank and we ate and all the stuff we could do in the Pine Room. But it was nice to just not have screaming, yelling about every game. I don't know. Just and the card was solid but not great. And I don't know. It was just a change of pace.
And we were in a controlled climate.
Yes, controlled climate.
That was very comfortable.
Yes, it was. Just a lovely house they have, and a really fun time. So,
well done.
Thanks to them, and we thoroughly appreciate everything our watchdog leadership has done for us. But the games. I know, Coach. He said, "Well, I had a great time, but I can't wait to get back in the Pirates." Like. Well, it does help, Coach. You got to walk 3 feet to go to bed.
Yes.
The rest of us don't. So anyway, we'll be back in there soon enough. I think it's another Pine Room bye week this week with the wedding they got. So, all right, let's kick it off right out of shoot. Penn State and Ohio State. At least I get the good game out of the way early in the day. So this place, the towns will be crawling around this area for this game. Everybody will be out. Ohio State -4.5. Total 47, opened around 5.5, down to 4, then back up to 4.5. So, Chris, my thoughts on this are I like Penn State at the beginning of the year. I thought that this maybe was the year that they could knock off Ohio State. I'm not sure they can beat Michigan, but I think they could beat Ohio State. The thing that worries me in this game and why I won't go out and I may end up betting them anyway, but I don't love this pick is James Franklin in big games is a worry to me. So I'm on the under currently. What are your thoughts on the game?
I'm expecting, let's see, the middle. I would say under. That's not my pick, but I think it will be a low-scoring game. Both teams have great defenses. Penn State leads the nation in pass defense and total defense. And there's something about Ohio State. I know they're unbeaten, but I think Penn State can go in there and hang with them.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna take Penn State.
Okay.
And Ohio State's, I think they're dealing with some injuries.
Yeah, on paper and in a neutral field, I'd say James Franklin he'll probably screw this up somehow. He shouldn't, but he might.
But,
so
maybe Ryan Dale screw it up too.
Yeah, well, no, that's true. He hasn't been great.
Although it's Ohio against the world, whatever that started.
Oh, good. Yeah. Well, good.
So, but I'm going to take Penn State.
Yeah. Oh God, Ohio against the world. Yeah. Jesus.
That's what he said.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, what a buffoon. All right, next game, ACC. This one could put you to sleep. Ooh. BC Eagles on the road at the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. It'll be Georgia Tech -4.5. The total 56.5. I really don't have a play here. I may actually. I was going to say under, but I don't really like that because I think both these teams have had slight improvements on offense. Do you have anything?
I'm going to go with the over. I mean, BC's won the last two and outscored them 89-57.
Yeah.
I know Tech's at home, but what the hell does that mean? So I'm going to go with the over.
Okay, Chris on the over at BC and Georgia Tech. Moving on, Baylor on the road at Cincinnati. Cousin Jake travels to, I'm sure he'll have some people in attendance. He's got some family in Ohio. We all do. Cincinnati -2.5, total 52. This thing opened like -1. It's up to 2.5. I have a bad feeling that Baylor, I hope I'm wrong, but I think they might be packing it in, Chris. It doesn't look good.
Well, both teams obviously stink. And, Cincinnati's lost 4 in a row. I think last week was at Iowa State, scored 27. The last 27 points to win the game. Just because Jake's on that team and I'm wearing a Baylor pullover, I'm going to go with them. But it's probably going to be an ugly game. Yeah,
I'd say I'd lean Cincinnati slightly. I'm going to be rooting for Baylor. But objectively, Cincinnati, that's actually a decent home field advantage if their crowd even comes to the games now.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I don't really have a strong play. Moving on, Rutgers at Indiana. Rutgers cashing a win total for Jubb. Who would have thought? The first bet cashed for the year on Bettor's Last Stand, season-long win total. Rutgers over 4.5. Jubb cashes it. We were at Kayleen's cheering and on. Rutgers dug themselves a hole and come back and won the game to get their 5th victory. They're on the road laying 5, 41.5 the total at Indiana. Chris, Schiano's a pretty good college coach.
Yes, I know we've bashed him before.
He's not a pro guy, but he's a good college
but he's done a good job. They're at 5-2. Rutgers 4-1 against the spread and 3-0 when they're favored by more than 5. Yep. They had a good comeback win against Michigan State, wasn't it, last week?
Yes.
I think. Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm gonna take Scarlet Knights.
Yep, I think that's a good one. I think they keep it going. I think Indiana is absolutely putrid. Air Force at Navy. I don't usually do these games, but it's a service academy battle. I had Air Force laying 10.5 last week. I think they were kind of in a spot they're overlooking. This is a big game for them as they come east. They're laying 11.5 here, total 37.5. I like the over, and I like Air Force in this game. Air Force is pretty good, and I think they were kind of in a spot last week where they were kind of waiting for this game. So as they try to get the Commander-in-Chief trophy once again. Any thoughts on that one?
No, I like Air Force. They pound the ball on the ground because I looked at the stat. They have 4 passing touchdowns compared to 24 rushing.
Yeah.
So I think they'll eat up some clock. I'm gonna take. I'm going to take Navy in the game. I don't think it'll be a ton of points, but I think so. Let's see. No, Navy's getting the points. So I'm going to take Navy. I don't think Air Force will lose this game, but I'm not sure they're going to cover. So taking the midshipmen.
Those can be tough, and they know how to defend each other. All right, skip a game. Moving on. It's UCF at Oklahoma. Oklahoma back in action after the Red River shootout victory over Texas. The Sooners at home, 19.5 point favorites. 64.5 is the total. I don't know. I feel like Oklahoma should win this game pretty easily. I think Gus Malzahn and UCF are kind of starting to show signs of deterioration.
Yep.
I want to lean towards Oklahoma. Less than the 3 touchdowns, I'd lean that way, but I don't really have a strong feel. What about you?
Well, UCF's lost 3 in a row. Oklahoma's at home with a week's rest under their belt, so I think they can do whatever they want in this game. So I'm taking Oklahoma to cover that.
Yep, I would agree with that. I think that's the way to go. It's either Oklahoma or pass for me. To the SEC we go. Mississippi State on the road at Arkansas. Razorbacks -7, total 49.5. I've been down on Mississippi State, but they keep treading water somehow. Arkansas has been up and down as well. Last time I backed them, they actually performed up the potential. I lean Razorbacks here, but I don't love it. What do you say, Chris?
I didn't have much of a feel, man. I was looking at it and just nothing came to me. So when in doubt, I'll take the home team.
Yep, good call. Yeah. All right. This game I do have a little bit of an opinion on, although I have one caveat. So it's a 3:30 kick. It'll be the Pitt Panthers on the road at the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Deacons -1.5, total 47.5. I was on Pitt last week. Somehow I got that one right. I thought that was a bad spot for Louisville. It looked too easy. Pitt makes some adjustments, quarterback change, so forth. They played a little bit better. Yeah. I don't think they played great. I like Wake Forest in this game, but I'm a little concerned that maybe, just maybe, Pitt figured out a few things on offense. Maybe they're going to bounce back and have a strong season. But I think this is a spot where after a huge win, I think they have a little bit of a letdown. What do you think?
Well, I wrote down on this game it was a coin toss, and I was looking at the spread. Yeah, it's a coin toss, -1. You know what, though? Pitt's entering the second half of their season maybe with some newfound life after that huge win, and now they have the new quarterback, Christian Valou. Is that how you pronounce it?
I believe, yeah.
And Pitt's got a pretty solid pass rush. So although it's a Narduzzi team, you never know what you're going to get with them.
Right.
But I'm going to take Panthers.
Okay. I had a small lean towards the under in the game, too. I think both defenses are decent. So, I don't know. We shall see, as Chris said. Coin flip, definitely. All right, turning the page. Chris, you will be in attendance. It's the Oklahoma State Cowboys on the road at the West Virginia Mountaineers. Mountaineers -3.5, total 50, 3:30 kick, ESPN. Chris will be there. Will you actually make it into the game?
I will, but because I have some customers down there. But I did secure a ride with my sister, so that has a lot to do with my intake.
Oh, well, that changes things.
Right, so I think it's going to be
immortal words of Coach Nardoni. That changes things.
Absolutely. But, you know what, Matt? And I always reference it at least one of these games. It's always homecoming.
Yeah.
And although I don't feel too good about the Mountaineers. I really don't
like it either, Chris.
I mean,
I don't like it either.
That loss last week was
I think that
brutal.
Stings.
It was brutal. But looking at, both teams are 4-2. But looking at the stat, Mike Gundy's 4-0.
They're coming alive a little bit
versus WVU. Yep. WVU. Neil Brown's 1-3 against Oklahoma State, and the Cowboys have won 7 of 8 in the last 4 in Morgantown. Yep. I'm taking the Cowboys.
I'm taking the Cowboys too with the points, 3.5. I mean, I agree. I thought last week's loss for the Mountaineers would be a tough one to pick themselves back up after. And Oklahoma State is playing better. Mike Gundy does a really good job as his team gets better as the year goes on pretty much every season. All right, let's go to the Big Ten. This could be a snoozer. Yes. Wisconsin on the road at the Illinois Fighting Illini. Badgers -2.5, total 42.5. Wisconsin quarterback not going to play here. I don't know if that's good or bad. I was against them last week. I really liked Iowa. So that was one of the ones that I did cash. But I like Wisconsin in this spot, even if the quarterback doesn't play. Illinois coming off a monstrous win over Maryland. Major letdown spot for Brett Bielema as he goes against his old team, Wisconsin. There's a lot on the line here, a lot of weird things in play, but I'm going to lean the Badgers. I don't love it, but I think the spot says maybe Wisconsin. And I'm not sure that maybe with Mordecai out for Wisconsin, they'll go back to basics and run the ball a little bit more. I don't know why they were trying to be like the SMU offense. It didn't make any sense for me. Wisconsin football says run, right?
Yeah.
What are you saying? What do you have thoughts?
Well, I was pimping the Illinois at the beginning of the year. They've been a disappointment up until last week, which is a huge road win. And I don't know, perhaps that's the spark they need to going forward, trying to become bowl eligible. So I'm going to. They got me pumped up again.
Oh, so you're back on. Okay,
I'm going to take
your
Illinois getting the points.
You're going to get your native headdress out.
Absolutely. I might even do a little dance.
Yeah, like CR down at the club on Halloween.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take Brett, whatever.
Bielema and home. Okay. Yeah. All right. It's keeping it in the very exciting Big Ten. This is a great game right here. Minnesota at Iowa. The Golden Gophers at the Hawkeyes. Lowest posted total in college football this year for a Power 5 game. I think Sam Houston State had also 32.5. Iowa minus 3.5. Total 32.5. Extremely low. And as Coach said today, I don't think that I could bet this game under. And I said, well, how in the world could you bet it over? I mean, you feel good about that? And then Jared said, yeah, 5 touchdowns puts it over. And I said, 5 touchdowns to these two teams sounds like 15 touchdowns to anybody else.
Was that Iowa that was in there was a game 15-6?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was last week.
They beat Wisconsin, yeah.
I'm trying to think. They had 37 yards passing.
Yes. Yeah, they're very
37
and high-powered passing.
I mean, I was in command of the Big Ten West, but geez, this is going to be awful. I'm taking Iowa though.
Yeah, I mean, Iowa's the better team. I don't trust PJ Fleck. I think Iowa's offense is abysmal, and but I think PJ Fleck in
to me this is like a 16-3 game.
Yeah, no,
16-6.
It actually intrigues me a little bit because I like the game under. I couldn't bet this game over. I mean, unless there's a defensive score, I just don't see any way. Can you imagine just having to beg for points the whole game? I mean, yeah, that's what it's going to be. I mean, 32.5. I'll be going under. We'll see. A little bit better game. Washington State on the road at Oregon. Oregon minus 20, total 60. Washington State's been in a little slump. Oregon loses a tough one at Washington. Probably should have taken the points a couple times there. Dan Lanning, especially before halftime, Chris, that debacle where they got nothing. Mismanaged the clock there badly, and you can't do that on the road against a good team. But I still think Oregon's good. I think Nix is good. They played a solid game. It was a really good ball game. I kind of like Washington State a little here to bounce back, but man, Oregon is tough at home. What do you say?
I'm going with the Ducks.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they'll come back at home and put a whipping on them. And Washington State, they're the one they got hammered by
Utah, right?
Yeah. Or who? Or then Arizona beat somebody bad. Then I was looking.
Or maybe it was
someone lost. It was either Oregon State or Washington State lost 44-6 to Arizona.
Yeah, no, but who did Utah beat last week? What? Hang on, I'm even going to look this up right now. You got me intrigued because Utah beat somebody's ass real bad too. Let's see. Who did you think? Who did you think it was that beat them?
Well, Arizona. They either beat Oregon State or Washington State.
No, Oregon State won at home.
Okay.
So because I had that.
Then I think it was Washington State.
Yeah, you're right. Arizona beat them 44-6.
And I think it was at Washington State.
Yeah, it was. They destroyed them. Yeah, good call. You were spot on there.
The Wildcats are playing pretty well this year.
Yeah, and I don't know what happened right there with Washington State. That's weird if they're losing a game at home. That tells me they might be having some internal problems, but I don't know. It should be a decent game.
Yeah,
Pac-12
I think
football's been good to watch this year.
And Oregon's, scoring offense as far as points are averaging like 48 a game, and I think they'll come back and after the loss to Washington and they'll be fine.
Yeah, well, here's two teams that don't have anything fine about them. Northwestern at Nebraska, the Wildcats at the Huskers. Huskers minus 11.5, total 43. I have zero opinion on this game. Both these teams suck, and I would not watch this if someone paid me to go to the game.
I mean, it's funny. Both teams are 3-3. Northwestern's games combined average 45 points a game. Nebraska's average 44.8. The middle's 44. I mean,
something's got to give.
I'm taking the under.
Okay, that's probably the safest bet on the board. Two garbage teams. I don't know how Nebraska fans even go to the games anymore. Back to the SEC we go. South Carolina Gamecocks off a disappointing, disastrous finish last week. They'll be visiting the Missouri Tigers. Tigers minus 7.5, total 59.5. South Carolina was a bet that I needed to come in. Them and the Seattle Seahawks kept me from having one of the best football weekends that I've ever had in my life. They blow a 10-point fourth quarter lead, lose to Florida. Devastating fashion, as we are all on South Carolina up at Kayleen and Brett's house, so it's disappointing. I don't know. I want to bet South Carolina here, but I just can't trust them anymore. Catching 7.5, total 59.5. I'm losing my confidence in them, Chris. What do you think?
Yeah, Carolina's 0-3 on the road, even though they're pretty. They got some explosive capabilities on offense. Missouri's won the last 3 in the series, and 6 of the 7 games Missouri's played have gone over. South Carolina's 4 of the 6 have gone over. So I'm going with that trend, and I am taking the over.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. I do. I think there'll be some points. 59.5 seems a tad low. Let's go with the over. Tennessee at Alabama, staying in the SEC. Bama minus 8.5. Total 48 flat right now, but there are some 48.5s as well. I like Alabama in the game. Think they're starting to find their niche a little bit. I don't think Tennessee's terrible, but I don't love them on the road here. Saw what happened to them when they went to the Swamp, and Alabama's much better than Florida. So I'll be going with Bama minus the 8.5. If I get anything lower than 10, I'll be on them. What do you say?
I'm going with the under on the game. Okay. I think Bama's going to win the game, but I just think both teams got pretty decent. Tennessee can run the ball, and they got a decent defense. But it's at Alabama, so I'm expecting something like 24-16, something like that. So
that would make about sense. I'd like it to be 24-15 so I could cover the spread.
We'll take it.
Yeah. All right, let's keep it going. Texas on the road at Houston. Texas will be in the SEC soon enough. Longhorns off the loss to Oklahoma, laying 23 on the road. Total 61.5. Holgerson's team off of a prayer victory against the Mountaineers. I cashed a ticket on them. I had no business doing that. They're not any good. I think Texas, this is one of my favorite plays. I think they absolutely kill Houston. What do you say?
Same thing, Matt. Houston, I don't know how many times these teams have played because they weren't in the always in the same conference, but Houston hasn't beat them since 1991, or at least in Texas since 91.
Wow.
But and I think Texas coming off that bye and that tough loss, they're going to put an ass whipping on Dana.
I think old Dana's in trouble, definitely. Hook 'em horns. All right, back to the ACC we go. It's the Virginia Cavaliers against the North Carolina Tar Heels. Tar Heels minus 23.5, total 56 flat. Virginia is a really bad team. I mean, this is either North Carolina or pass, really. I mean, North Carolina should beat this team by 35 or 40. Unless they're disinterested. So I don't have a strong play on it, but I lean Carolina. Chris, what are you thinking?
I'm taking Carolina. Virginia's 1-5 going on the road, and Drake May is a pretty damn good quarterback.
Yeah, and they got that receiver back. That's the NCAA fucked his whole thing up.
Yes, so I think pretty much. I mean, like you said, if they're interested, they're going to win the game.
Yes,
but just by how many?
Yes.
But I think Virginia's bad enough that they'll be able to. Carolina can cover that.
Yep. Name the score. Texas Tech on the road at BYU in another Big 12 clash. It'll be the Red Raiders -4, total 52. BYU's a team I just can't figure out. I know they're in the Big 12 for the first time, so eventually I'll start to maybe get a little bit of a feel on them. I don't love Tech laying points on the road, but I can't back BYU either. Chris, do you have any opinions on this one?
Not much of one other than I'm taking the over. Both teams are coming off blowout losses, and I'm just going to it's homecoming at BYU.
Oh, boy. We'll be getting wild.
There's my homecoming winner.
They'll be. I don't know what they do in Mormon homecoming.
I don't know. Well, we know what Jim McMahon was doing.
Oh, yeah.
He was a rule breaker.
I think he broke all the rules. Yeah. Good job, Jimmy. All right, let's keep it going. 7 o'clock kick, ESPN2, TCU Horned Frogs at the K-State Wildcats. K-State 6.5, total 58. I don't have an opinion on this. I can't get. I don't know. I lean K-State. TCU just too volatile for me. They got a lot of replacements from last year, so I don't love them. What do you think?
Same thing, Matt. I mean, the Hoover kid played well in his first start for TCU, 439 yards and 4 touchdowns. They got that Monty Bailey. I think he's second in the Big 12 in rushing and 7th in the nation. So they can put up the points.
Maybe over.
Yes. Well, actually, no. You know what? Yeah, it probably will go over, but I'm going to take TCU on the road getting the points.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have a strong play on that, so I'm glad to listen to you on that one. I'll take around a touchdown on the road in probably a pretty close game on paper. Ole Miss visiting Auburn. Ole Miss Rebels -6.5, total 56.5. Boy, Auburn's a team I just can't get behind. I want to, but I can't. I just don't trust them. Don't love Lane Kiffin, but I think he's a little too good for them. I think maybe Ole Miss gets it done here, but Auburn does play better at home, so I don't know. What are you saying?
Well, and historically, they said Ole Miss has had difficulties beating Auburn, and it's even a tougher task when they're playing in Jordan-Hare Stadium.
Yeah.
And I think it said only twice has Ole Miss won in Auburn, so I think I know 3-15. So I'm I'm going to take Auburn at home getting points.
Yep. If that could get above a touchdown, it might be definitely worth a take. So 6.5 right now. Michigan on the road at Michigan State. The Wolverines minus 24.5, total 48.5. To me, this looks strangely low for the spread. I know it's a conference game. It's a rivalry game, so perhaps that plays a factor. But I don't see any way Michigan State scores more than 10 in this game. I think Michigan just absolutely suffocates them and wins this game, probably something like 41-7 or something like that. What do you think?
I'm thinking along the lines of the way you are too, Matt. I don't see, and that was another bad loss for Michigan State. I don't give a shit that they're playing at home.
Yeah.
Michigan's defense giving up 6 points a game.
They might be the best team in football.
I
don't know. Their schedule's been a little weak, but they are good.
So I think I'm kind of like you. I'm thinking it'd be like 38-6.
Yeah.
Maybe State can get a touchdown, but I'm taking Michigan.
Yep. All right, keeping it rolling, ACC. This is actually a pretty decent game, in my opinion. Duke Blue Devils on the road at the Florida State Seminoles. Florida State minus 14, total 49. I really like Duke in this game. I think Duke's good on defense. I think they got a good ball control offense. I think they give Florida State a little bit of a difficult time here. What are you thinking?
I feel the same way. I mean, Duke's held their last 3 opponents to 0 passing TDs, which includes Sam Hartman?
Hartman,
yeah, from Notre Dame. So I think that's too many points.
I agree. I mean, they just hammered NC State. I mean, NC State scored 3 against them.
So. But however, is Duke solid at quarterback? They said that guy, if they have to put that other guy in, Henry, what is it, the fourth?
I think it'd probably be a low-scoring game, but I think if Duke can play well on defense and control the ball, I think they'll have a chance of hanging in.
So I'm taking Duke.
I'm still a little skeptical of Florida State. I think they're good, but not great. Army at LSU, strange matchup. LSU minus 30, 57.5. It'd be nice if Army could beat Brian Kelly, but I don't think they can.
No.
I don't have an opinion on the game.
LSU's had a pretty tough schedule. They get a breather this week.
Yes,
so Army's lost 3 in a row. So and LSU, they do have a pretty solid offense.
Yeah,
and so I think they'll handle Army. So I'm going to take the Tigers.
Yeah, could get ugly fast, and Brian Kelly's a dick, so he probably will try to rub it in. He has no respect for anybody, so why would he respect the service academies? Clemson on the road at Miami. Not really a daunting task. Clemson minus 3.5, total 49. It's amazing what a week can do as your program is you don't kneel on the ball. You lose a game you shouldn't lose. Then you go fight for about a half, and then you could tell once they got behind in the second half, they packed it in. The team's starting to quit, I think, and this could get really ugly. I don't expect a big crowd on hand here. It's an 8 o'clock kick in South Florida. I don't think that's going to be good for Miami. I like under in the game because I don't love Clemson's offense, but I don't know. I think Miami is about to lose their 3rd in a row. I hope not, but it seems like Cristobal's lost the team, Chris. After
I agree, Matt. And your team, I mean, I want to root for them. And they start out they're 4-0, and that brutal loss.
Going to be 5-0 going to Carolina. That's all the momentum.
Then you know what? That was just like a speeding train just rolling right along, and then damn, you get derailed, and it's never going to.
You can't get it back on the track.
No, not at all. So Clemson's won 4 of the last 5 in this matchup. So. And obviously, like you said, Miami's lost 2 in a row. So I think Clemson's going to go in there and beat them.
Yep.
Miami's lost it.
Yeah, they have. It's no doubt. The only thing I can hope for is that they somehow can rally enough to be able to beat Florida State. But that's about the salvage of the season.
It was just like Kissel. Remember, he lost it.
Yes.
He forgot how to sing. He just lost it. So
he's filled with glee.
But it's a shame that something like that
promising season all ruined because of dumb fuck
stupid
coach.
Decisions.
Very few times can you actually say the coach directly lost the game because obviously players play a role, but he definitely directly lost the game, not indirectly, directly, like just a silly decision.
And you always wonder, like if you if you were in that huddle, you got to ask those kids after that game and say,
they probably knew.
Like, did one of you guys ever think just fuck what the coach said? Let's just take the knee.
You'd like to think maybe, but they didn't. They didn't speak up in time.
That's amazing. One series or the end of the game
changes the whole season. Yep. I don't see anything good coming, but I like the under in the game. I don't think Miami will be very motivated, and Clemson's got a good defense. Utah on the road at USC. Another team's got to pick up the pieces. Trojans minus 6.5, total 56.5. I surprisingly like USC in this game. I think they bounce back. What do you think?
I'm going to go opposite. opposite of you,
Okay.
Matt. Utah's got a strong defense. I know it's up against a good offense. Caleb Williams really struggled last week.
They got a lot better coach, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Utah.
no doubt. So, and I don't know. How motivated is he? And I'm not going to say you guys are going to go out there and just dog it, but he basically lost the Heisman Trophy last week. He threw 3 interceptions. They're not good enough to win a national championship. Their defense sucks. So I'm taking Utah.
Here's what I think. If they lose here soon, Caleb Williams is going to start saying, I got something wrong with my foot or my toe hurts. The NFL draft's coming.
Yeah.
I'm not playing in a bowl game. This is a waste of my time. So, but on the other side, Utah's quarterback hasn't come back because apparently Cam Rising's getting advice that he shouldn't play this year because of NFL stock. What a dumb fuck.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
These guys are just...
but they're all millionaires now anyway, so I don't know why they're worried about NFL money. Keeping it in the Pac-12, UCLA on the road at Stanford. UCLA minus 17, total 55. Stanford with the miraculous win over Coach Prime. We had people trying to cash tickets. They thought Colorado won. They were stunned to realize that they didn't. Coach was getting taunted by Jamie McKittrick, who thought Colorado had an easy winner there, according to Weeks, and then he ended up being disgusted as they blow the lead. I like UCLA in this game. I think Stanford has a letdown spot.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, and they had lost Stanford. That is lost 4 in a row up until last week, which I still can't figure out how the hell that happened.
29-0.
Yeah, but they do have a little bit of talent on the outside. They have some speed, but I don't think. I mean, that was just almost like
UCLA got a good defense. I think this is low scoring.
So I'm going with the UCLA Bruins.
Yep, same. And finishing it up, Arizona State at Washington. Washington Huskies undefeated off a big win against Oregon, laying 28 at home here. Arizona State, they're catching 28. Total 58.5. We had the young man. Student from Washington on the radio today, Gray Wilhelm. He made the kick on game day to win $30,000 of Pat McAfee's money, I guess. But yeah, so he was a nice young man in the business school there, wanting to get into the master's program. I think their master's the Foster Business School, but he's an undergrad right now and having a good old time. It was nice to have him on there talk about his experience. I like Washington will win this game, obviously, but I think maybe, just maybe, if I can get over 4.5 touchdowns here with that 28.5, if I could get that, I may take Arizona State to cover. Chris, what are you thinking?
I'm going with Washington. I mean, Arizona State's lost 5 in a row. I think Washington's going to keep it rolling.
Yeah,
they're at home. Even though, I mean, Arizona State, their last 2 games, they were more competitive. I think they've lost both games by a field goal, but Washington's just too tough. And I don't know if Penix, do you think he's got a stranglehold on the Heisman right now?
Sure looks like it, but a lot can happen. But I would say he's by far the choice to me.
Yeah, but I'm going to say, he's not going to – this game this week isn't going to cost him the Heisman. So I think he's going to have a good
If
good
it does,
week.
then they'll probably lose. I don't know how that could be.
So I'm going to go with the Huskies.
Okay. All right.
That's a big number. But
that's the college card. I'm going to go over coach's picks since I didn't add these in during, so let's go through these really quickly. His just regular plays, Tennessee plus the points, Tennessee Volunteers plus the points against Alabama, and then he's got Iowa minus the points, which is a scary proposition that Iowa would ever have to cover points, but they will be minus 5.5 against Minnesota. So I'll be taking the Hawkeyes. He's taking the LSU Army game under 58. He's taking Stanford plus the 16.5. And then his strong plays. Here we go. Penn State, Ohio State under 48.5. I agree with him on that one. He also likes Missouri minus 6.5. That's against what? South Carolina?
Yes.
Yeah. And then Oregon, Washington State. He likes over 60. He likes Ole Miss minus 5.5, and he's also agreeing with us, Duke plus the 14 on the road at Florida State. And his best bet of the week, Washington minus 28, Chris. So, yeah. And my best bet, going back to it, is the Texas Longhorns. Chris, did you have a best bet?
Yeah, and I hate to say this because I'm going to be at the game, but I pick Oklahoma State. Yeah,
okay.
I got a bad feeling after the Mountaineers should be coming in this game 5-1, but they're not, and it's just a horrible loss. So I don't know. And Mike Gundy's a pretty good coach. And I mean, at least the statistics record-wise show that Oklahoma should win this game. But what the hell do I know? But that's what I'm going with.
What the hell do any of us know?
No.
Trying to educate people here on Bettor's Last Stand the best we can, but we by no means know it all, and we're not going to pretend to. So anyway, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. Got a couple of industry tidbits to share, as well as a little discussion on NHL NBA before we get into NFL Week 7. Sam won't be with us today because of the Tuesday. We'll briefly touch on racing, and we'll have his picks later in the week on social media, so be sure and check us out at the Pine Room Studios, BLS_PRP. It's Bettor's Last Stand from the Pine Room Studios. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Bettor's Last Stand, and if you want more of Matt's picks, you can follow Bettor's Last Stand on X, formerly Twitter, at BLS_PRP. And you can keep a lookout for the newest additions to Bettor's Last Stand, the Saturday Shootout and Sunday Steamers, covering Matt's best bets for college football and NFL. You might be doing well so far, but that line keeps moving and the enemy keeps pushing. You're listening to Bettor's Last Stand.
All right, welcome back in. Bettor's Last Stand. Matt and Chris here with you. Show number 58 coming to you on a Tuesday, strangely, as we are going to be at the penitentiary doing a festive Halloween-type special regular podcast. So if you haven't checked that out, go back at the Pine Room Studios, get on YouTube, check us out at the West Virginia Penitentiary in Moundsville.
Well, you know how we always refer to our depth with our roster here, but also because we're switching it up, we also have versatility.
Yeah, I like it. Good word of the day, versatility.
So, we just adapt. We got to make it happen, and so we got to give the people what they want.
Correct. Hopefully, we can give you some more winners than last
money
week.
In your yeah. So
that's the key.
I'll try to do better this week.
That's all right. We're not always going to do it, but it depends. Some people just bet football. If they only bet football, they might have done all right. I don't know. At least treaded water. Week 9 Duggar's Saucy Spread Challenge will be out at the Gumbies in Moundsville, South Moundsville. They call it the Zoo. It was fun last week. Wild, action-packed area. So be back out there. Tune in, noon to 3. Watchdog. Should be a fun one. Gumbies and Jill's Gentlemen's Club are our sponsors. Thanks again to IC Cab as well for everything they've done for us. I see those things around all hours of the day, night when I'm going to work, when I'm coming home from work, when I'm coming home late at night, which I don't do very often, but they're always out and about. Just a great service that Phil and his crew have over there.
Everywhere.
And it is nice to see a need being met in the Wheeling area. Yes. So thanks to IC Cab. We really appreciate everything they've done for us and everything they're doing for the city of Wheeling. A couple of things industry-wide before we get into some NHL and NBA notes. I had bad beats. I didn't really have anything that stuck out to me today, but I heard people complaining about the Mountaineer loss of Hail Mary as a bad beat, and it's just stupid. Like, you can't complain about that. That's just something I feel like if you had the Mountaineers in the game, you probably thought you were going to lose. And if you had Houston in the game, you thought you were going to lose at one point.
Right.
And it's like, so where's the bad beat? You had bad beats for everybody if you want to classify it.
Because really, the Mountaineers should have never, they should have never had no business tying the game.
No, they did not. Then that's
taking the lead, I mean.
Correct.
That's
they were down double figures with how many, like just a couple minutes left.
Yeah.
So, So I don't
35-20 to 24 where they were down.
I don't feel sorry for anybody that had that ticket. You almost got a lucky break, and then you ended up not. So don't say it. And then the New England with the safety that they took against the Raiders, I heard people complaining about that. The Raiders were in the red zone like 6 times. You had no business even coming close to covering in that game. So don't complain about that one either. That's just not a bad beat. Anyway. Moving on, we got the NHL data starting to come in, so I'm starting to get excited. We got some teams have played 3 games, so you got a couple of 3-0s, yes, in the goal in the first 10 minutes. So the 3-0, yes, so that means there's a goal scored in the first 10 minutes of these games. You got Ottawa, Carolina, Columbus, Florida, and Tampa, all 3-0 to the yes there. If you want to track these guys, Ian Duncan and Chris Otto on Twitter or X, You can just look up their names. They got these incredible spreadsheets and data of all this stuff. Goal in the first 10, goal in the first period overs and unders, second periods, third periods, all kinds of stuff. Just regular unders and overs for the games. They have an extensive database. So if you want to track that stuff, we'll keep refreshing you and reminding you here on the show. But NHL season is here, and we're excited about it. Yeah. And that gives you another area to delve into.
And I think I told you, I think this was after our show last week, but I finally did place a bet. And Matt, you talked about all last year about the goal in the first 10 minutes.
Yes.
And I can't remember the game I was watching, but I just said, hell, I'll make the bet. And I think the first goal was scored like 12 minutes ago in the first period. I'm like, took his advice and put a little money in my pocket.
It's a fun one. So if you're going to want to do that, check these guys out on the Twitter and X. Look them up, and you can see it. They update the thing every single day, and they'll even give you some opinions of their own on there. But you could see that. You could see the spreadsheet every day, and you start seeing. And these trends, they held up better than a lot of trends that I've seen in sports betting. So I think he got. I'm not going to say they're going to win every night, but if you stick with them as the data continues to come in, I mean, you're going to hit it high 60s to 70%. So anybody would take that. So we'll keep you apprised of that as we go on. The Lions are now 28-12 ATS. They're at 70% in the last 40 games. Pretty impressive. Old Danny Campbell turning it around, and they were the top cover team in the NFL along with the Dolphins. Both of them 5-1. The Rams 4-1-1 on the year, and then a couple teams actually about 4 or 5 at 4-2. Jacksonville, the New York Jets, Kansas City Chiefs, San Francisco, Baltimore, and Houston all 4-2 ATS. On the bad side of things, the Giants are the only team in the Super Bowl era to have done this. More rushing yards than their opponent, more passing yards than their opponent, fewer INTs thrown in their opponent, fewer fumbles lost in their opponent, fewer field goals missed than their opponent, and still lost the game to Buffalo on Sunday night, if you can believe that.
That's mind-boggling.
Brian Daboll, I think, looks like his head's going to explode on the sidelines.
Well, speaking of the betting and all that, I want to tell you this about the Browns. I saw this last night. Since 1999, when the Browns came back,
right,
there have been 76 games since then where they were 9 or 9.5 point
underdogs. Or more.
Yeah. And in those 24 years, they 5-70. They won the 6th game. Their 6th game was Sunday against the Niners, because the Niners were 9.5, 10-point favorites.
Yes,
and they won that game. So they're 6-70, and that was out of those 6 wins when they were 9.5 point underdog, 9 or 9.5. Sunday was the first time they won at home. I just think that's crazy.
It's almost impossible.
Yeah.
In the NFL, too.
But 76 times to be 9.5, 9 or 9.5.
There's some teams that haven't, like, how many times do you think the Steelers have been that big of a dog? Like 5 ever?
Yeah.
Like, if their quarterback was paralyzed and something else.
Exactly. I wish it'd be more.
Yeah. Too bad their quarterback didn't get paralyzed a few times.
Well,
not the new one, but the old one. All right.
Did he wear number 7?
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah. What a shame. Don't miss him much.
Dickhead.
Yeah. No, that's it. That's an incredibly good stat, Chris.
Yeah, it is weird.
All right, last week's top bet that I saw, at least as far as biggest, -4. Jaguars -4 for $330K. So that was a nice one. And then we mentioned it a little bit earlier. Michael Penix Jr. -140 right now to win the Heisman. Dylan Gabriel, J.J. McCarthy, Jordan Travis, all in the 10 to 12 to 1 range there. So, yeah, I think it's Penix to lose. Chris agreed. I think Washington's going to be very tough. A couple of those services, they're Brad
Playbook
Powers.
Looks good.
Yeah, Playbook. Mark Lawrence, he had another good week. Point-wise, is picked up their game a tad. Power Sweep was terrible. They're 0-5. Coach's boy Brad Powers 0-3 last week. Top play was USC. 22-32 on the season. Red Sheet 11-19 on the season. 2-4 in the NFL. Phil Steele, coach doesn't like him. He was 5-0 last week. He bounced back pretty good, but he's still 26-40-3 on the season. 5-7 in the NFL. Gridiron Gold 5-8 in college. 5-3 in the NFL. And Victor King, we were touting him last week. Wow. He was 11-4 going in last week, or and he's 0-5 last week. He went so down to 11-9. So anyway, just giving you an idea. The plays here are free, so doing just as good or better than those guys on the season. So all right, keep it rolling here. NHL, NBA, just really quickly. Penguins, Chris, they bounce back. Wasn't a good start. They get 2 decent wins against teams that probably aren't going to be great. Caps and Flames, and the next play the Red Wings, I believe. So, thoughts on the Penguins? At least they got it together a little bit, played a little bit better the last 2 games.
In 3 games, I mean, our favorite Russians looking really
played
good.
well,
Played well. Although I'm surprised, not surprised, but the goaltending's been solid. Even though that first game, Jari, I mean,
he made some good saves.
He didn't play badly. I mean, he needed a couple, maybe he probably would want back, but had a good bounce back. And then Nedeljkovic, I think he had like 36 saves. That was against
Calgary.
Yeah, Calgary. So
yeah.
I don't know. They look good. They have not got anything from their bottom 6 yet.
Nothing. Not scored a goal. That was a problem last year, and hopefully Pierre Maguire said today on the radio he thought that would change. So
yeah,
we'll
and I think those guys are definitely more defensive minded. I mean, they're going.
Yeah, it said that their plus minus is still pretty.
But they're going to have to. They're going to have to chip in on the score on the score sheet, or else it's because those guys are going to wear out.
Yeah.
I mean, Sid and
helps
Jensen,
having another offensive prone defenseman too, Carlson. So
yes,
and he hasn't even kicked it in gear. Wait till he gets settled in.
But man, he's made a couple of just really incredible, just one-on-one play, just skating around a guy
absurd.
like a toe drag.
His talent
like,
level is just exceptional.
Because we've never. I mean, we've obviously aware of him. We know.
We saw him a few times.
But you get to watch him.
Yeah.
On a day-to-day basis, we might have a few wow moments with him. Like,
no doubt. Now, me and you probably had about 7-8 beers in us about every time we saw him play live when he played for Ottawa, but we did see him a good many times.
Yes, yeah.
And his the way that he gets the puck out of his zone is just incredible. Even his exit passing, and then just the way he can carry the puck. And he just shakes defenders off like it doesn't. They're not even there. And he's an exceptional.
Well, and they were talking about that, because of that and those strengths, being able to do that. That's his best defense as well. Getting the puck out of there. Like he's not going to be going and bodying a guy off the puck, and that's not his game, and it never has been.
Right. But his skill level and having him and Letang to share ice, that one of them is almost going to be out there every third shift. I mean, or every third change. That's not bad, because you got guys who can haul a lot of minutes, who are very skilled, and then Carlson just has where Letang is such a great skater, but he's like a more compact player. Carlson has this big stride, and good reach, and all. I mean, he's just
fluid.
Yes, he is.
He's fluid.
Totally different type player, but
let's hope all that and if the team can stay healthy, which they basically did last year, and that's the ironic, and they didn't make the playoffs. Yeah. Sid and Gino, the first time ever, they both played all 82 games, but they're off to a good start.
Yep.
And but it's going to be a tough division.
Tough division, and that Atlantic division has some better teams in it this year too. So you're going to be fighting out for wild card spots. So it's going to be these games. Every game is going to matter. You can't be blowing those leads like they did before. So, but I will say this: Chicago's a lot better than people gave them credit for. I had them last night against Toronto. Arizona also another team. Keep an eye on them. They're a lot better than what people.
How'd
were
that
thinking.
game end up last night?
Arizona won in overtime.
Okay, I saw it was 1-1.
Chicago beat Toronto easily. Toronto, same problems with Toronto right now. Just book it. They got no goaltending. They're inconsistent on defense. Same with Edmonton. They have no chance of winning the Stanley Cup, either one of them.
No, I just like it. Watching those late games. I'll be doing some betting tonight.
Marc-Andre Fleury's last game probably in Montreal, so that'll be a good one. So
his hometown.
Yep, good stuff. All right, NBA, as I mentioned, don't have time to do it this week because we're kind of off schedule. There's a few teams I like win totals on. I'm going to put those up on social media, and I'll get anything that Chris likes. We'll put those up by the weekend. NBA season starts next Tuesday. So at the Pine Room Studios and BLS_PRP, Twitter and X. Or X, same thing. NBA starts Tuesday, as I said.
Speaking of the NBA, your favorite player was at the football game.
It's good.
I was glad we got to see.
Glad to see it.
But
I barely saw it.
But when we're doing these shows and we have to cut some segments, we're we're pressed for time, we can always just eliminate
It'll
that.
always be that.
Yes, okay.
I mean, I don't mind betting some of them season-long things, but a night in, night out, that stuff is impossible for me to keep my attention.
It'll bring my dinner up watching
it. It makes me angry.
Yeah.
But anyway. All right, let's get into the NFL. Week 7, Browns and Jets coming off big upset wins.
The guy I worked with today, and he's a big Jets fan, he says, well, that's right, all those old guys will be dead soon, so they can stop celebrating it. But, I don't know. Yeah, that was from 72. But whatever, good for them. And give them something in their later years to look forward to.
Mercury Morris. Is he dead?
No, I think it's usually him and Larry Zonker, the ones. But they keep dying off.
Yeah, fuck them.
Yeah,
all right,
and
let's
Don Shula.
Yeah, Don Shula. I mean, I don't even hate him. It's just like I'm tired of hearing about him. It's like, yeah. All right, Tampa hosting the Falcons, our first game of the week, 1 o'clock kick. Tampa Bay Buccaneers -2.5 at home, total 39. Tampa was awful last week. Baker Mayfield back to his old self, but I'm going to take a shot that they bounce back this week against Atlanta.
I am too, man. Atlanta's got some quarterback issues. That Ritter was god awful. He was awful. So I think the Buccaneers will bounce back, and they're going to beat the Falcons.
Yep, I agree with that. Keeping it going, another big colossal battle here. Raiders at Bears. It'll be the Raiders -3 on the road at Soldier Field. Total 37.5. Justin Fields is out. The guy from Shepherd may be starting. And you know what? I think the Bears will be better off with him. I'll be taking the Bears at home. I can't believe I'm saying it, but I'm taking him plus the 3. No way Josh McDaniels wins 2 in a row. Give me the Bears +3. Bears and under. I don't give a fuck.
Well, I'm taking the second half of that. I'll take the under in this game.
Okay.
I mean, the Bears scored 6 at home last week.
Yeah.
And I mean they played good defense
for a change.
Against Kirk.
Yeah, CURC.
Yes. But and you're right though. Raiders are a joke. So I'm just going to take the under.
Probably a very good play. Cleveland on the road after the big win against San Francisco at home. They travel to Indianapolis. It'll be the Browns -2. Total 39. I don't know what the quarterback situation here. Nobody really does.
Yeah.
I like this game under. That's where I'll be going with it. Gardner Minshew was abysmal last week. The Browns, I think, are the best defense in the NFL. And I think that's going to be a problem for the Colts. But can the Browns score enough?
And I'm taking the Browns, but I mean, their defense is solid. And you're right. And they're well coached on defense with Jim Sword. I am still not sold on Stefanski and his play calling.
No,
I mean, but for them though to beat San Fran, although they benefited from 2 missed field goals, but. That's what worries me. But if they could just, not do anything stupid on offense, they should be able to keep the Colts to 10 points.
No question.
And they should be. So I'm taking the Browns. But
yep, I would lean the Browns. I don't know if Walker plays it, if he can play as well. I mean, I don't know if he played well, but he played okay. If Deshaun plays, then I'd say I'd definitely like the Browns, but that line will go up for sure.
But I'd feel a lot better if P.J. Walker was starting, but if he's the starter, if he was handing the ball off to Nick Chubb.
Correct.
But
that Ford guy has been good.
Yes,
he's right.
he's
not Nick Chubb.
It's just weird to see the Browns road favorites.
That's very odd. Yeah.
So I'm going with the Browns.
All right, another good game here. The Lions visiting the Ravens. Ravens -3, total 41.5.
That's a good one.
Here's my thing about this game. So I don't have the exact stat, and I meant to go research it today. But teams returning from London, they have really, really, really struggled in the first games back. Now, it's a little different. Jacksonville come back after 2 weeks, and they were pretty good. But if you look at the Bills last week, they look completely out of it, out of sync, hungover, especially the teams that lose in London. So I would keep an eye on both the Ravens, and then I don't think the Titans, they don't even play this week, do they?
No.
Okay, so they're off. That's what I thought, because the NFL gives these teams the choice if they want their bye week after London. Ravens chose not to. But these teams have really been lethargic, and they've struggled. And I think the stat that I had originally had, but I couldn't find, or I didn't look for, in the third quarter of these games, these teams were trailing at least into the third quarter in every one of these instances where the team had come back from London. I think it was like in the last 20 or like maybe 18 out of 20. So anyway, my point is, be careful with the Ravens here laying these points. They may struggle. They may look a little bit out of sync. They may look a little tired. So I like the under in the game. I think Detroit's got an improved defense. The Ravens have a pretty decent run defense. So I think if they can make Jared Goff out to throw the ball, I think that'll be good for them, even though he's done fine. But I like the game under. I would just be a little leery about the Ravens. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't know. So keep an eye on that. Chris, what do you think?
I have circled the lines here. You getting the 3 points.
Yeah.
But this is going to be a knockdown drag. I mean the Lions
should be 2 playoff teams.
I think we've seen enough of the Lions the last 2-3 years to where that I think they're legit now.
Yeah, well, I mean we gave that stat earlier. They're 28-12 in their last 40.
Yes.
ATS.
And in some weeks the Ravens look good, our weeks they don't, but
they don't.
You just had that stat to back them up when you come back from Europe.
Yeah.
So,
I would lean Lions here. I really would. If I have to make a pick here, I'm definitely playing the Lions. I'm hopeful that Ravens can play well, but 41.5 I'll go under in the game. Buffalo at New England. Oh, God. Buffalo was atrocious. They still won against the Giants on Sunday night, coming back off of their London loss. Total 42 here. They're laying 9.5 on the road in New England. When's the last time Belichick caught 9.5 at home? It's all over for New England. They have nothing in the tank. But just when you think in years past, you say, oh, they're dangerous here, but I just don't think they are. I think Mac Jones has given up. And you got to think the Bills will get it right here at some point, and this could be ugly fast.
I agree with everything you said about the Patriots. I mean, Mac Jones is horrible. I mean, I don't see how they score. I don't, and I know now. So I'm taking the under in this. I mean, the Bills are going to win this game, but I expect it to be like 31-7 or something.
Yep, that's my.
I
top
can't
play as well.
They're probably the worst team other than Carolina.
And they're the worst offensive team, I would say, without question. I mean, Carolina's a little better than them. They got a rookie quarterback, so they'll keep getting a little better. Fuck, Arizona's better. I mean, everybody's better than them. They're terrible. Keeping it going. A couple other, though. The team that might be just as bad as the Giants, who host the Washington Commanders. Commanders -2. Commanders off a nice win against the Falcons. Total 40 in this game. I actually like the Giants here. I'm going to play the Giants catching points at home. I think this is perfect setup for them. I don't trust Ron Rivera to win back-to-back games. He's a bozo. I like the Giants a little in this game, Chris.
We must be related because I was thinking the same thing. Yeah. I said the Giants are, well, they did play that game in New York.
Yeah, and they should just keep playing Tyrod Taylor.
Yes, exactly. And the Commanders, they're I mean, I think they're 3-3, but I don't trust them and Riverboat Ron. So, yeah, I thought the same thing, Matt. I think it's a perfect spot for the Giants to get their second win, so I'm taking them.
Let's go, G-Men. All right, Arizona at Seattle, 4:05 kick. It'll be the Seahawks -8 at home, 45 the total on that as the Cardinals come to town. I like under in this. This series is probably pretty close. Seattle's better. Seattle should win this game like 9 out of 10 times, but Arizona's scrappy, and I would probably lean them catching the 8 if I was going to take it on a side. But I do like under, Chris. What do you?
I'm taking Geno and them to cover. I mean, Arizona, they are scrappy, but they've been starting to get their margin of defeat starting to get a little bit bigger.
Yeah, it is.
And they're trying. And I thought Josh Dobbs was not very good last week.
Yeah.
So we'll see what Geno can do. He's back home with the 12th man. So I'm going to lay the points.
All right, the Sea Hags. All right, Pittsburgh on the road at the Rams. It'll be the Rams -3, total 43.5. Rams have been a team that I've been pretty impressed with. I'm not saying they're great by any means, but Stafford's still got a little left in the tank. If he gets protection, he's got good wide receivers. The running game's been pretty good. He's got a good tight end. They got a good D-line. I think this is a troublesome game for the Steelers.
Absolutely.
I think this is. I think that the Rams are better than them, and I think it's going to take a game from Kenny Pickett where he's going to have to really go on the road and win him a game, because as good as the Pittsburgh pass rush is going to be, the Rams are going to come right back, and they have incredible interior line play led by Aaron Donald. Steelers could really struggle to score here. I think the Rams and under. I'm on both of those here, Chris.
Well, I got the Rams, and another thing about that too, the Steelers don't run the ball well.
No, they don't
at all. So if you're going to have to force Kenny Pickett to throw and beat you,
yes, sir, that's a great
maybe
point.
He can do it. Maybe
this is a game. To me, this is a game he'll either have to win or they'll lose, in my opinion.
And so if he would go out to L.A. and throw for 350 yards and 3 touchdowns, are they still going to keep chanting "Fire Matt Canada"?
Kenny, Matt Canada.
But that's a great point because we haven't seen that yet from Kenny. I mean, he's had flashes of brilliance every now and then. But no, I'm taking the Rams. I think this is a tough spot for the Steelers.
Agreed. All right, keeping it rolling. 425 kick. Chargers at Chiefs. Chiefs minus 5.5. Total 50. I think the Chiefs will win this game like literally 10 out of 10 times. Maybe some points, maybe not. I don't know. This Charger team with Brandon Staley, I mean, I feel sorry for Herbert. I really do. They were embarrassing last night. You're getting out-coached by Big Mike McCarthy, which I was happy about because I actually had Big Mike. I had Big Mike
from last week, and all the times we beat him, you were like, "I'm taking Big Mike," and every time I see him, it's not Mike McCarthy, it's Big Mike.
Big Mike. Big Mike gets it done for Tom and Jamie and all the other Cowboy fans that we know.
Yes.
I don't know this Brandon Staley, man. He just. I don't understand anything this guy does, and he's wasting like a generational talent.
There's talent there, man, and they should make a change.
Oh,
I mean,
they got to, but they say that family doesn't fire anybody, and again, but you know what? I'm sure everybody else is happy about it because that means they're not going to be a threat. Andy Reid and the Chiefs can kind of just pick their. They haven't clicked on all cylinders, and I know coach was saying, "Oh boy, the Chiefs don't look this good." I'm like. But you say that every year, and then they turn it on. I mean, as long as they got Mahomes, they got a chance. Their defense seems to be a little improved. I'm not going against Andy Reid here, so it'll either be Chiefs or pass for me, Chris. What do you got?
I think there's going to be a lot of points. So Chiefs are going to win the game.
Yep.
And I mean, that guy's not going to outcoach Andy Reid, but I'll take the over.
Yep. Good call. All right, Packers at Denver. Talking about a couple coaches here that are struggling. Green Bay minus 1.5 on the road. Total 44.5. Denver supposedly is going to have a fire sale here and start trading people. So maybe that'll be an interesting thing. So we'll keep an eye on that. I don't know what to make of Green Bay. They're just going to be up and down. It's pretty obvious that Jordan Love can't play. I don't see it. He's maybe a backup at best in the league. Can't play. And Denver is an absolute disaster. Shouldn't even have a win at all if the Bears don't blow it. But I'd lean Green Bay here, but how can you bet them on the road? Maybe if Aaron Jones is back, they run the ball. But I'm not impressed with either one of these teams.
And, I have the Broncos circled here, Matt, to win in this game. But again, I don't feel I don't have a strong conviction on it because they got a malcontent in Jerry Jeudy. I don't know if there's other guys on that team, but somehow that doesn't help things. And
they said everybody's available except they thought maybe Patrick Surtain, but that's it.
See what happens when you get rid of the horses at GM.
Yeah, horse.
They get rid of Elway and they suck.
No, well, maybe they'll take him off the logo too.
So this is going to be a brutal game, but you're right, though. Jordan Love on the road, and he's really, really struggled. But this is a game that I would definitely turn the channel and not watch.
Yeah, horrible. Absolutely horrible. Night game, actually a good one here. Yes. Miami visiting Philadelphia, our final game on Sunday evening. The Eagles at home, 52.5 is the total. Eagles -2. I think this is a good spot for the Eagles. I think after a really poor performance, Jalen Hurts, worst game of his career. The guy's a very smart guy, hard worker, coach's son. I think he really bounces back hard here. I really, really like Philadelphia in this game. And I do think there could be some points because Philly, depending on some of their injuries, some of their defensive linemen were out, so that'll be key. Their secondary is not quite as good as it has been in recent years. Miami's going to score a little bit on them. But I think the Eagles score right back. So I lean to the over here, Chris, but I really like the Eagles.
I'm taking the Eagles as well.
Okay.
Primetime game
should
at
be a
home
good game. Yep.
And a good bounce back.
Yep, good game. Monday Night Football, all right game. This is be one that's going to completely depend on San Francisco's injury report. They're laying 7 right now on the road at Minnesota, 44. That tells me that people think that at least Deebo Samuel is going to play in this game. 7's a lot to be laying here if you don't have McCaffrey. And now Minnesota by no means is any good. They're another team, a lot of problems. Jefferson out.
Yeah.
Cousins reportedly refused to waive his no trade. I guess the Falcons were interested in him and the Jets, and he won't move.
Yeah, he said he doesn't want to just uproot his family or whatnot.
I mean, I can't blame the guy for that. I think the guy knows deep down he wouldn't win with those teams either.
Yes.
So I don't blame him for not wanting to go to Atlanta. They're not going to win anything. Minnesota is no worse than them. And then the Jets, I mean, he's going to be a rental for a couple months, and then Aaron Rodgers is going to be back. So I don't blame him for making that decision. Be different if he was going to the 49ers or something. But I don't really know what to think of this game. 7-44 is the number. I'm going to keep an eye on it to see what happens with the Frisco guys. I like maybe the under in the game with Jefferson out.
I do too.
Yeah,
I like the under. And well, like you said, you referenced the injuries with the 49ers. But I mean what did the Vikings put up against the Bears?
Not very many. I mean, but they had to score like 13 or 19. I think it was 19. To win.
And that's against a very bad Chicago team
that had been like a really statistically poor.
So and Niners are going to win, but it's going to stay on.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's probably a field goal game, depending on McCaffrey. If I'm the 49ers, I'm thinking, you know what, I'm going to rest Christian this game and probably should be able to win the game anyway. You would think.
Well, I always thought that. San Fran was kind of like us. They had depth at running back.
Well, they do. Guys. I mean, they do, but he hasn't had to do that because McCaffrey's just so good, I think. So, they got Mitchell and some of them other dudes. But I think the Trent Williams injury could be interesting for them. They would definitely need to get him healthy when they go against somebody because 49er offensive line is, it's probably the weakest part of their team. So, all right, coaches' picks here. Let's get your pencils. Get your pencils, your crayons, whatever you're getting out. His medium plays are the Falcons plus the points against Tampa and the Bears. He and I are both on the Bears, so that's not going to turn out well. Bears plus the points against Las Vegas. His strong plays, key releases here. Jacksonville -1. That's on Thursday, so you've already seen that game, so we'll see if he was a winner. Detroit plus the 3 against the Ravens. I would lean that way as well with the Ravens' potential hangover. Lions, Browns under 39, 40, whatever you get it at. We both lean that way too, Chris. And then his best bet of the week, coach's best bet, 10-star, Pittsburgh and L.A. Rams under 43.5. And I lean that way too.
Well,
so
I'd take the over then, just because it's coach. He's had some bad ones.
Yeah, well, he's due to get going here, but he's got a lot that's going on right now. So
and you know what? I'm going to put my strong play or whatever, and I hesitate to do it because this team sucks, but I just I think the Giants are going to. With the 2 points, getting 2 points, I think they're going to beat the Washington straight.
Okay,
up.
So that's Chris's best bet.
Yes, the New York Football Giants.
New York Football Giants will be his best bet, and
it'll be 30-0 at halftime.
My best bet of the week is going to be the Philadelphia Eagles. Mm-hmm. So
the Eagles.
So that's it. Chris on the Giants. I'm on the Eagles, and Coach on the Rams, Steelers under is our best bets. Again, you can catch all these on our social media at the Pioneer Studios or BLS_PRP on Twitter or X. All these plays will be available. Put those NBA season-long bets that we like up for the weekend. Get Sam's racing plays. Briefly just mentioning about racing. Formula One Grand Prix of the United States this week down in Austin at the Circuit of the Americas, which is pretty cool. Max Verstappen, defending champion of that race. He led 40 of the 56 laps. It's going to be pretty hard to beat. I'll talk to Sam and see if he likes anything from an F1 perspective. Then we'll be sure and put those up on social. But I'm assuming Team Red Bull is going to be pretty strong. Mercedes ran well there last year too, so they had 2 in the top 6. George Russell was 5th, and Lewis Hamilton actually led some laps in the race and was 2nd. And actually, Lando Norris was 6th in the race. So the McLarens have been running really well. So keep an eye on Lando and Oscar Piastri. Perhaps they McLarens can pull out a double top 6. But we'll post those racing plays. NASCAR odds weren't out at a lot of places. I had a few numbers on them. some guys who I thought could be contenders this week. Kyle Larson won last week. Good race. Held off Bell late. We're down to 3 races left in the NASCAR season, Chris. It's hard to imagine. Larson won this race the last time. He's the defending champion. Rick Hendrick has swept the last 2 here. William Byron won 2 back. I think Chevy's going to be strong. I think the Hendrick cars are going to be really strong here. I thought William Byron at 7-1 to win this race is a pretty good bet. Denny Hamlin also at 7-1. And Martin Truex at 6-1. Those are 3 guys that I think are top contenders here. I thought A.J. Allmendinger, Austin Dillon, and Eric Almirola from a long shot perspective, maybe some top 10 action for them. All those guys have shown some strong finishes at Miami Homestead. Chris, thoughts on anything NASCAR related? We only got Homestead, Martinsville, and Phoenix left.
No, I really don't, man.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's kind of sad, and I hate to say this because we bitch a lot about football, but once football started, it took away my attention or my focus on the NASCAR.
Yeah.
And most of the time, when if we're spending Sunday at the vets and football dominates, and we have it.
Yeah, we're on
racing on the side.
Lucky to get an auxiliary
yeah,
TV.
And it's just funny that me, you, and Angry Tim, and other guys are always just really checking on what Bubba's doing.
Yeah.
and rooting against him.
Yeah, but I will make this prediction. We got this week and 2 more left, and I guarantee you we're going to be starved for NASCAR come February. We'll be so sick of football. We'll be so excited when Daytona comes back.
Well, I guess I got sick of it week 2 of the NFL season when Chubb got hurt. So, I'm sick of it too. But, no, the racing, I got to admit, though, it's got me back as a fan.
Yeah, it's been good. They've done a lot of good stuff. They're on the right track, bringing back people that they really
lost,
are.
So. There's certain things, there's certain tracks I wish they could eliminate.
Right. At least they got rid of the dirt at Bristol. Now they're not going to do that anymore, and some of the other things. So, but they're trying. They're trying to bring in other people.
Well, it was nice to see him to go back to North Wilkesboro.
Yeah,
I really
awesome.
like that.
Hopefully they get an actual cup race.
So hats off to them. Yeah. And I haven't really looked, but are their ratings up? I think
they're pretty strong. Yeah, I think all that stuff is trending in the right direction for them. So that's good to see. As we said, just 3 races remain. You got 8 guys left, and then they'll be doing that final cut. I think they cut down to 4 for the final race. So
fortunately, they have a short off season.
Yeah, they do. It really is actually. You're finishing up in November, and you're getting cranked right back up in February.
Speaking of NASCAR, did you know that Chase Elliott flies himself to those races?
Yeah,
I saw that on YouTube. Driving his fucking.
I remember
flying a Learjet, and I thought, oh, that's not really him. And they said, yeah, it is.
I've heard that a lot of guys did that even back in the older days. I remember at least some of the guys drove helicopters and stuff. Yeah, I guess if you're a racer, you kind of want to be a pilot. So kind of goes hand in hand. I mean, they have the technological know-how and the awareness, I'd say, but. Sometimes you figure you want to check out, catch a little nap on the way in.
I wouldn't want those helicopters. I'd kill. Didn't Quickie die in a helicopter?
Davey Allison.
Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah, and a lot of bands over the years too. It seems.
Oh
like.
Yeah.
Anyway, NASCAR winding down. We'll get Sam's picks for you up on social media. Hopefully he has a bounce back week as well. I'm sure he's studying over everything right now. But yeah, Homestead, Martinsville, and Phoenix left to come. All right, that pretty much does
Fun
it. Chris,
show,
Chris,
Matt.
any parting thoughts? Anything we didn't cover?
I just hope that we can provide them with some winners, and I take Matt's advice and pay close attention to the goal in the first 10 minutes.
Fun stuff.
That is a fun thing. And one thing I do like about hockey, I know we can bitch sometimes about the officiating, but those bets that you make usually aren't.
They're not impacted by
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to say.
Yep.
Compared to the football,
not nearly.
And I watched that
impact.
goddamn game last. I didn't watch a ton of the NFL game.
No,
but I watched the second half. But I tell you, it became a fucking flag fest.
I heard some people talking today about how bad that crew was and how they've been really low rated.
And you know what, Matt? And they'd never do it, but someone's got to come in. I wish there was another governing body and say, you fucking got to fix this goddamn officiating.
Yeah.
I mean, it is goddamn it's outrageous how bad it is.
It is.
I mean, or non-calls or calls, and the
most popular sport in North America, and they can't They make no strides in improving it ever.
And some of the rules that they have in place, to me, do not impact anything on the play.
Nope.
Like if a guy's lined up the wrong way, who gives a fuck?
Illegal shift.
Yeah,
like
I mean, it just. But anyway,
meantime, they'll let the guy from the Eagles false start every play, Lane Johnson. I don't know what the rules
and
even
there's
are.
just so many different things that have gone into this NFL that have made us detractors.
Oh, it's terrible.
I mean, we actually sat here and we weren't bullshit when we had that meeting in here on Sunday. It was relaxing as hell.
Yep.
We didn't have football on. We were busy,
and
it
was great.
And it was relaxing. Like you said, your blood pressure wasn't up.
Yeah, and I don't even know why. It's not like life. It just, I don't know. When I'm forced to follow a product for work and for even, in my social life too, but like that, to me, it's almost all meshed together these days. And it's just, it sucks to have such a poor product that you have no choice but to follow and pay attention to. It's aggravating.
Yeah.
You wish you didn't have to, but
well,
anyway.
Matt, the good thing is we got hockey back.
Yes, hockey is back. NBA will be back. College basketball is coming up soon. It's not like that now. I've enjoyed that a little bit more the last couple of years. Anyway, it was a good show.
Yeah.
We'll be back next week.
Good to be here,
Hope
Matt.
we didn't mess anybody up too badly with changing the days, but we'll be at the prison tomorrow, so check that out. Check out all of our stuff on the Watchdog Network. We had Brenda from Horrifying History on the show today. She was wonderful talking about vampires, so if you're into that kind of stuff too, check it out. Jub has that archived. He'll have it up in either this pod or the next one, depending on what our prison show's like. We've got a few other Halloween things coming up as well. We got the pickleball tournament on Sunday, so if you're not in there, they got a few more spots left at the Pine Room Studios. You can sign up for that if you're interested. It's up at Ogleby on Sunday. Chris will be at the game Saturday.
Yes.
I'll be at work all day probably. So anyway, we will see you back here in the Pine Room Studio next week on Bettor's Last Stand. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and best of luck with your wagering.
Take care.